Let's start with a simple idea. Picture an empty room. Logically, it should be a place of total peace.
After all, there's no sound to worry about.
There's no movement to catch your eye. So, there should be no threat. And yet, for so many of us, that's not what we feel at all, is it? Instead, there's this pressure, a deep sense of unease, maybe even that chilling feeling that you are not actually alone.
If you've ever felt that, I want you to know it is not just an overactive imagination. It's a deeply programmed, ancient biological response. Today, we're going to explore the architecture of this invisible dread, a fear that doesn't come from what's in the room, but from what's inside your own mind. First, let's just acknowledge how real this experience feels in the body. Your heart might start to beat a little faster. Your breathing gets shallow. You feel completely on edge, hyper-alert. Your body is physically preparing for a threat, even when your logical mind knows there is absolutely nothing there. And that, right there, is the central mystery.
This is the fundamental question we have to answer. Why is there this massive disconnect between reality and your physical state? Well, the answer doesn't lie in what you can see. It lies in what your brain is desperately trying to find.
Here's the crucial insight. Your brain is not designed for comfort. It's designed for survival. And it absolutely hates emptiness. You have to remember, our brains evolved in environments where total silence and stillness were rarely safe. More often than not, they signaled a hidden danger, like a predator lurking just out of sight.
This completely reframes the purpose of our mind. Its number one job, honed over millions of years, isn't to make us happy, it's to keep us alive. And survival depends almost entirely on prediction. So when a room is empty, your brain goes into a kind of data blackout. There's nothing to analyze, which means there's nothing to predict.
And this right here is the core conflict. Your survival brain is a prediction machine. It is constantly scanning, seeking patterns, hungry for data so it can anticipate any possible threat. The empty room offers the exact opposite of what it wants. No patterns, no data, just pure, raw uncertainty. And to your survival brain, that is a crisis.
So, what happens when the brain is faced with this information crisis? It doesn't just sit back and wait. No, it takes action. When it's faced with a total void of information from the outside world, it begins to generate its own.
Now, this response isn't coming from your logical, rational prefrontal cortex. It's coming from a much older, more primitive part of your brain, the amygdala. That's your brain's fear center. And the amygdala's trigger is beautifully, terrifyingly simple. It doesn't ask, is there evidence of danger? It only asks one question, is there uncertainty? If the answer is yes, it sounds the alarm.
This process unfolds in a clear four-step chain reaction. First, the sensory input, the noise, the movement, it all just stops. Second, your amygdala immediately detects this absence and labels it uncertainty. Third, it activates the threat response, flooding your body with adrenaline. And finally, fourth, you consciously experience that chemical surge as the feeling of fear.
This really is a fundamental principle of our psychology. The mind abhors a vacuum. It would rather invent a threat and be wrong than miss a real one and be dead. You can see how this is a deeply protective mechanism. It's just also a deeply unsettling one. And here's how that filling in process actually feels. The brain takes completely neutral sensory information and projects threat onto it. A shadow in the corner isn't just a shadow anymore. It becomes a potential shape. The deep silence of the house isn't just quiet, it feels like the held breath of a presence. The stillness isn't calm, it's the tense anticipation right before something is about to happen. Now, this innate response doesn't exist in isolation. Certain environmental factors can act as powerful amplifiers, taking that low-level unease and cranking it all the way up into genuine dread.
Two of the most potent amplifiers are darkness and solitude. Darkness is pretty obvious. It removes our visual certainty, robbing the brain of its most trusted sense for gathering data. But solitude is just as powerful. As social creatures, the presence of other people is one of our primary safety signals. Being alone removes that signal and can trigger a very ancient fear of facing danger without the protection of our tribe.
Think about the shift in how a room feels when the sun goes down. The critical thing to realize is that nothing in the room has actually changed. The furniture is the same, the layout is the same. The only thing that has changed is your brain's confidence in its ability to predict what's happening around you. So after hearing all this, it would be really easy to conclude that your brain is somehow flawed or that you're weak for feeling this way. But that conclusion is just plain wrong. We need to reframe this entire experience. I really want you to let this sink in.
Feeling this fear doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means you have a highly effective, finely tuned survival system. It is concrete evidence that your brain is working exactly as it was designed to. It is simply doing its job too well for the modern world we live in.
And this is the final piece of the puzzle. You are essentially running ancient survival software in a modern environment. Your brain's operating system was designed for the unpredictable dangers of forests and caves, where a sudden silence was a very real threat. It just hasn't fully adapted to the benign quiet of a locked, empty room in the 21st century.
Ultimately, the fear of an empty room isn't about what's in it. It's about what isn't. Certainty, information, control. And this raises a final, much more profound question for us to consider. If your mind can create such a powerful sense of dread from an absence of information here, where else in your life is it filling in the blanks? What other anxieties are you carrying that are built not on evidence, but on the simple, primal fear of the unknown? If you found this explanation insightful, consider subscribing for more deep dives into the hidden truths about how your mind works. Thank you for your time.